There we go. Good morning, everyone. It's 9:30 a.m. It's a Wednesday morning. You're watching Innovation Fika with me, Donny Legonis, here live from KDH Innovation in Stockholm. And let's see, go live here on Instagram as well. There we go. We're live on Instagram. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on TikTok. No, we're not. LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Anyway. So today we are talking about, vi kan prata svenska också. I can do Swedish, I can do English. As you come online, make sure to say who you are in the comments and where you're from, and we'll see if we'll do English or Swedish. I can switch to either or. But today we're speaking about age limits in social media because there's a big debate in Sweden now about should we have age limits or not on social media, which is kind of an interesting question because people seem to forget a lot of the logic behind that. I mean, for starters, we already have age limits on social media. You're supposed to be 13 years old to use Facebook and all of the other services. That's actually part of the Children's Protection Act in the US, very heavily enforced. When I was building communities for kids and young teenagers, that was one of the big things. We had to have this 13 age limit of 13 to comply with that. But of course, it's all a matter of, are you 13? Yes, no, kind of thing. So that's one part of it, that we already have an age limit, which is kind of there, but never enforced. And now we're talking about enforcing more. Sort of Europe is talking about more harsh age limits. Sweden is also talking about the debate in Sweden now is all about age limits, and it's an interesting thing because let's see, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, I was talking about big tech and how we have given over control to them. I feel that we have just given up, and they can dictate who gets to be on which platform and who cannot interact with which technology and so forth. And they've completely ruined standardization because I can't use an iPhone to download a Samsung app, or I can't use a video call between Meet and Zoom because they've locked us in their walled gardens. So that's one part of the issue. And then, of course, this whole social media thing where they completely took no responsibility at all for the addictiveness of what they have created. I mean, the whole eternal scroll thing, the whole idea of creating something that never ends is kind of what the whole thing is all about. And then, of course, the content people are exposed to. And it's interesting. I mean, if I'm like 12 years old, I can easily find videos of people like beheading each other and killing each other and really bad, nasty stuff. But if somebody posts, too much skin on Facebook, it's immediately locked down as immoral, which is a very, very strange. The whole sort of idea of what is moral or not. I mean, I'm not saying, yes, of course, we should have age limits and just do it. And I'm not saying we shouldn't. I think we should. I think we should protect our kids. I mean, we protect our kids with cigarettes, alcohol, casinos, gambling. You can't go to a casino and gamble away your pocket money if you're 12 years old. But actually online, you probably could get away with it. And lots of things that we have age limits on because we've discovered, or we feel that it's harmful for our kids. Smoking, I mean, even energy drinks today in Sweden has an age limit. So why shouldn't we have an age limit of what obviously then is a very, very addictive service like social media is? I mean, social media is built to be addictive, and it's also an echo chamber of false and also very, very, sometimes very, very, I would say, opinions that should be regulated. I'm not against free speech. I am for free speech. I'm a very, very strong advocate for free speech. But free speech does not mean the right to insult anyone and say whatever is on your mind. That's not free speech in my book. You can't just, the whole idea of harassment and calling people stuff. It's not okay. It's not okay. So coming back to the age limit, then, then the question is, how do we enforce it? I think people get stuck on the technicalities. I think people get stuck on, it's impossible to enforce it, and if we enforce it, it has to be some kind of ID, and then there will be this surveillance society. And look, I've lived in Sweden for all of my life, right? And we have the personal number. Everybody is registered as a citizen. I have my bank ID, which I sign into all of my services with. I don't feel overly regulated or, surveillanced by that. It is a very, very, it's a super convenient way of navigating. But that doesn't mean I am for surveillance. I mean, again, don't get me wrong here. I think that people get stuck on the technicality, and they think that if we do enforce age limits in social media, it means that we'll have to over-regulate and have to have this surveillance society. Well, the thing is, any age limit can be circumvented. I mean, kids can get hold of both cigarettes, alcohol, energy drinks, and they can watch porn and whatever if they put their mind to it. I mean, that will always be the fact. But it's just making, in my world, it's like it's enforcing something where we agree upon, no, it's not okay to do stuff when you're 12 years old. And then we put that in a law, which helps society as a whole regulate it. I mean, thanks, Nora. Hi, Nora. Good morning as well. Good to see you. I think it's about helping each other. I mean, all this talk about it takes a village, but we need to talk to each other what is okay and what is not. And then we'll have to have some sort of set of ground rules for what we feel. And we write them down. We call them like laws. And then we agree upon that. Of course, people can break the law. Of course, people can do things that we then deem illegal. But if we at least know what the law is, it helps us enforce it. And I think that if we had an age limit for social media, it would help parents parent, because it's really tough being a parent to a teenage kid. And I just think that if we just agree upon something, like saying that it's not okay to, what else do we regulate? Energy drinks, perfect example. It's like, why would we ever want to regulate that? Well, we've decided that young kids, and 10 years old shouldn't be, they don't need to drink energy drinks, and they shouldn't be drinking it. So we've had an age limit on that. Other things as well. And it just makes it so much harder, and it makes it just a bit harder to actually just use it, like smoking as well. Same thing there. And it makes it easier to say no if you know that you have the backing of a commonly agreed norm and regulation. We have agreed in this village, when we're raising our kids, that this is what we want to see happen or not. That makes it easier for us to be parents, and that makes it easier for the village to be a village. And again, bouncing back to the episode I did about big tech a couple of weeks ago, why are we giving up control to them when they are obviously not interested in regulating anything, in the whole sort of sense of, we want to make more money and we don't care anything. I mean, they don't care. They actually don't care. If they did care, they would do something about it. They only want to make more money. Even if, and it's all about the algorithms. Nora, let's see here. Leaders in Sweden should be more outspoken about, yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, we can agree upon that leaders in Sweden should be more outspoken about a lot of things. And we do need we need role models for next generation management. Well, yes, of course we do. I agree 100%. And I just think that we should, what's wrong with us standing up and saying, hey, can we please just have a decent society where we agree upon, we are not gonna be, again, if it takes a village, this whole expression, then the village needs to agree upon some basic ground rules. And it feels like the ground rules are out the window now, because it's all about shouting the loudest, and the more provocative you are, the more votes or clicks you get, and the more money you can make if you don't really care about the rules. So and I personally, I work with young entrepreneurs, and I help great ideas come to life, and I'm not liking the this like new development where it's all about make money fast, get as rich as possible. It's almost like people have sort of given up on sustainability. They've given up on saving the world. They've given up anything. And it's all about, as long as I get as rich as possible before I die, I don't care about anything or anyone else, which is, in my opinion, terribly, it's sad, short-sighted. It's very cynical, because you know what? The world's going to be around for quite some more time more. And if you actually care about yourself and your family and your kids and their kids, you should care more about what you're actually, leaving after yourself. So don't be so damn short-sighted, and stop being so damn egoistic, because it's not about you. You're a tiny, tiny, tiny speck of sand in a desert of millions of people that will have come before you, and another billion people coming after you. You know what? Just be a better person and try and build a better society around you. Sorry, a bit off topic here, but it kind of ties into what we're talking about. So I think that we should come together and actually talk about, what we need and what. Let's see here, Nora. Swedish corporations would be more profitable if leaders would actually walk the talk. And the corp said, yes, of course they would. I think there's and I've said repeatedly that, I'm making a joke of this, but I always talk about this fictive political party that I would love to start, but I will never do that because I do not want to become a politician. I think there's a thirst for morally, what is morally correct, but I think there's a thirst for people who actually stand up for what's good in the world. Look at New York. They just elected out of nowhere a new leader that obviously is not buying into the harsh capitalist right-wing speech. So obviously there is a need for that, and there's a thirst for that. And I think that we all need to be role models. And yes, employees are more productive when they feel the leaders walking. Of course. Nobody wants to feel that they're part of a big scam machine, right? But anyway, coming back to the whole regulation thing again. Should social media be regulated or not? Yes, in a sense, yes. I think it should be. I think it should be. If I launched it today and I said, look, I'm going to create something that is super addictive. It will take 8 hours a day out of your kids' time, so they won't be doing homework and they won't be spending time with their friends anymore, and they will definitely not be exercising their creativity and imagination because they'll be locked in a echo chamber of a room. Then I have a hard time thinking that it would just sort of pass the bill without any problem. I think that would be a big thing, and I think that there's nothing radical about age limits at all. Again, I've said this 1,000 times now. We've already regulated a lot of other things that we feel are harmful for our kids. So why not do this as well? And I think that the whole argument of, if it takes a village, the village needs to agree upon some kind of basic ground rules that we adhere to, and that then, if we can put that on paper, call it a law, call it a whatever you call it, will help everybody in the village, one, understand what is okay and not, and two, enforce what we've agreed upon. And if there's no written, if we leave, the thing is, everybody's like blaming each other and saying, oh, it's the parents' fault. But it's really, really hard to regulate something at home if there's nothing to sort of lean on. It's like, I don't think you should use this. Why not? I don't know. I don't have any arguments. It's not good for you. But my friends do. And, it's like, but if there is an actual agreed sense of this is not okay, then at least we can, lean on that. That's one thing. And I don't think it has to be, we don't need to go China on this. We don't need to do a super surveillance thing where we crack down on everybody who doesn't follow the law, because people will always find ways of circumventing the law. It's about putting something in place which makes it hard enough or harder to do something which we feel is not good, and make it easier to, at least know what we've agreed upon. I mean, that's my basic take on it. So we'll see what they come up with. I'm just afraid that they will come up with some kind of idea where they're, it will be like, it has to be relying on some super advanced technology that, but again, hey, I'm Swedish, right? So I use bank ID for everything. I have my personal number, which is everywhere. And sometimes it feels like the problem is the culture clash. I mean, if we have an honest society where people trust, if people trust the government and the government trusts the people, then this is kind of an ongoing thing where it works. But if you mix that with cultures where the citizens don't trust the government and the governments don't trust the citizens, where it's all about control and enforcing and that kind of thing, and then you mix those two. I mean, that's a big culture clash there. That's kind of a lot of stuff we've been seeing here the last couple of years as well. And I think that it's all about trust, right? It's about trust. It's about decency, common sense, and some kind of moral compass where we have to agree upon what is morally okay and not. And once we agree upon that, then we have it outspoken. It's like starting a company or an organization where we sit down and we have a discussion about what's our basic values, what's our vision and mission, how do we treat ourselves, how do we treat each other at the company, how do we don't. Coming back to what you were saying about how do leaders actually, walk the talk, and how are leaders good role models for both the employees and also the next generation of people? I mean, how do old middle-aged people how can they act today to be good role models for the new generation that is coming out? And the problem is, of course, is that in my book, too many of the new generation are idolizing not so healthy role models, guys on the whole sort of manosphere side with very, very bad role models, where they're going back to thinking that, oh my God, so many strange things going on there. That I would happily, have this village regulate against, if in somehow, if nothing else, just sitting down and agreeing upon what do we think is okay and not to say to each other. And again, I am a big fan. I mean, I'm a big advocate for free speech. I'm a big advocate for personal freedom, but not to the extent where we harm other people, and not to the extent where society doesn't take care of the people who need it the most. So in that case, I do like the idea of having a society that looks after the weakest, and where the people who are better off spend time and money on actually helping people who need it. And so that's, when I have been living in the US, that's kind of one of the things that I've had a bit of a problem with, the whole sort of, sense of care, look after yourself and forget about everybody else kind of thing, which is interesting, because that also generates a very, very large group of people that do care a lot. So there's a lot of charity work, a lot of fundraising, there's a lot of volunteer work going on. So, I mean, that's the paradox between US and Sweden, because in the US you have a very sort of hard core with individualism, and then you have a very soft core and a hard shell. In Sweden, it's like the opposite, where you have this the system itself is very sort of soft because it looks after the people, but it also but the people themselves are kind of hard to approach, and it's like a harder shell. Interesting reflection just on the differences. Anyway, Coming towards the end of this little, not a rant really, but it's more of a discussion, reflection on should we have age limits in social media? I think we should. I'm not saying I know how to enforce them. I just think it's a good thing. And I think that it's something we should talk about more and not just say, polarized. Stop doing the polarized yes or no. Could we please stop having a polarized debate on stuff? Could we please talk about middle ground and have everybody talk about things in a more sensible manner and stop shouting at each other? The Swedish politicians are making utter fools of themselves because they're adopting a shouting match way of running their political messages, which I do not respect at all. You're making utter fools of yourself. Could you please just go back to being decent people that want to talk about things and have a reasonable, have arguments and discuss things, but shouting matches don't belong in politics. It's all about, your job as a politician is to find middle ground. Your job as a politician is to make it work, not to stand on either of the two super polarized sides and saying it's my way or the highway. Have to make it work. We are a very diverse society. We are all diverse people in all kinds of ways. So we also need a very, very, that has to be reflected in a very diverse politics as well. So yeah. I do think there should be an age limit. I'm not saying it should be super technically regulated with surveillance and harsh punishment, because that's not the way to go. But I think it's something we should talk about, and we should talk about why we want to regulate it and why it's not good for you. We've already talked about why cigarettes aren't good for you. We've talked about why it's not a good idea to have people start drinking alcohol too early. So why shouldn't we talk about this as well? And to be honest, okay, here's my last twist here on the whole sort of age regulation on social media. Why should there be an age limit on something which should be limited in general? What's saying that a 16-year-old or a 26-year-old can handle social media better than a 12-year-old? Because the way social media is going now, into echo chambers and downward spirals into black muck, it's not good for anyone. Social media in general should be changed and regulated, in my opinion, because it's just a cesspool, which is, of course, a very black and white way of seeing it as well. So, yeah, it's not all bad, of course. But, I think it's something that we should talk about more in a more, controlled manner and not just say this way or that way. So with that, dear friends, and thank you, Nora, by the way, for all of the comments. And I do agree with you. Cars like Mandami, definitely. And I'd really want us all to work together as a village to decide what this village wants to see happen and not, and how do we together raise the next generation in a way that they are responsible, self-thinking, healthily critical human beings. And I think that pulling them out of their addiction to social media is a good start. They need to start looking up. Creativity has gone down the drain when the smartphones entered the world. That's proven as well. There's so much proof of this. Human creativity is going down. There's this constant stimuli of not having to think for myself, especially now with ChatGPT as well. Oh my God, it's even worse. The whole AI thing has completely numbed our brains. So now we don't even have to think anymore, for good and for bad. Let's see how that works out. That was another episode I did on using AI. The digital divide between the ones that use AI to become smarter and the ones that use AI to become lazier. I wrote about that on my weekly musing a couple of weeks ago. With that, I will start ending off. I'll just say, there we go. Sweden, turn up the volume. Okay, awesome. Nora, thank you so much for being online with me today, Nora. You know I appreciate you, and you know I think that you always have really good things to say. So thank you for being online. And hey, let's have coffee one day and talk about how we're going to fix this. So much. And by the way, next week, Friday next week, Friday, December 5th, if anybody of you watching are in Stockholm, come by for the lunch meeting, with the last lunch meeting of the year for Entrepreneurs Without Borders on Södermalm in Stockholm, where we'll also be announcing the 2025 winner or awardee of the EWB Award of 2025. So that's next Friday. Join me then. But for now, I will say thank you very much, and I'll see you next Wednesday again for Innovation Fika with a guest maybe, or with another hot topic. With that, I will say thank you, goodbye, and have a great day all.